Hi and welcome to part 3 of my video around the touchscreen that I've installed in my Audi A6. As you'll see now, I've refitted the trims, the vents, everything's back in place. So I just thought I'd show you a little bit more about the box that connects in and tell you a little bit about refitting things. So fairly straightforward, put things back as they were. Now the big challenge is this unit here. You're now going to try and push behind it a whole load of connect wires, connecting block, and it's really hard to do. The thing to do with it is just take your time, be patient, keep trying it in different positions, and basically don't overforce it, right? Think about it. There's metal behind there and wires. If you push it in too hard, you'll end up breaking something. So I actually ended up stopping and coming back the next day. What I found in the end is the big connector block that you end up with connecting the existing car loom to the new loom is really quite chunky and sizable. I found that you pushed it in and down, and there's a little gap just behind this unit, right at the back, and you push it down in there. And if you keep turning it and getting the right angle, you'll find a good position for it, which allows this unit then to slide back over the top. The other good tip and the thing to do is when you pull your wires back through in here, pull them through here as much as possible so that you're keeping less behind the dashboard as much as possible. Okay, so that's my tip of getting this part refitted. So now what you'll notice is I've still got the glove box out. Okay, now the reason I've done this is because I just wanted to show you this is the sort of main controller box that comes with the screen. Everything's labelled on it. It's quite straightforward. But if I just run through the bits and pieces, you've got the main harness loom that connects in here. There's an additional loom here which adds on extra bits and pieces. A GPS receiver, so even if your car's already got sat-nav GPS in the tail, you'll also need this one for this unit. What I found is I can still use my sat-nav as it was before, but I've got an additional sat-nav now. On the other far end here, this cable comes down to this item, which is a 4G antenna. On the instructions that they send you from China, they say to put them either side of the dashboard, one up here and one on the other side over there. Now I found cable routing quite difficult, and also it's going to look a bit unsightly when it's finished. What I've heard other people doing is both these units, if you put them on top of the glove box as you're putting it back in, and they can then sit underneath this dash, and apparently they will still get a good enough reception. Obviously it won't be as good as all that as being able to get line of sight to the sky, but it'll should work, should be okay. Okay, so on the other connectors which we've got in here, the main ones that I've used is I ordered a kit with the rear view camera. So you have to connect the cable together as they've given on the instructions. The label is in Chinese, doesn't actually tell you, but if you match up the Chinese symbols with what says on the instructions, that's the one you want. What I did find interesting is there's another one labelled DVRV. Now it's not that one for the rear view camera, it is this other one. You also have to splice in, so just connect the power lead to the 12 volt supply, so it's labelled CCD 12 volt. Okay, so you just connect that up, use a bit of heat shrink on it to make it neat and tidy, and then you do the connections at the other end as well. What comes with this kit as well is 2 USB ports. So both of these, I'm going to cut a small hole in the back of the glove box and just pull these cables through. If you do it in the top of the glove box, it won't be noticeable, and they can just dangle through. Or maybe I'll see if I'm routing them around the side, perhaps somewhere neat. One of them I've connected in just a USB drive, which has got music, MP3s on it. The other one's labelled CarPlay. I've not tested that one yet. I imagine if you had an iPhone, you could connect into just a USB port there, but the system gives you those additional two. Okay. Something in the instructions it advises about is you're supposed to connect this cable here. Okay, just got this multi-connector here through onto another cable, obviously at the opposite end, with the headphone jack there. then that is supposed to connect in your glove box through to the new AMI cable. I haven't worked out why yet. The reason I say that is because you do have to plug this in. The sound won't come out if you don't. But once you've plugged this in, you don't need to do anything else. You don't need this part on it. So I'm waiting for the supplier to tell me why this part's included and why I could connect it up to here. But of course it's quite difficult. As you can see, it's going to be an awkward thing, and I have to take all these trims apart in order to try and fit it into this box, which is going to be awkward. And to be honest, so far it seems like it works without, so why bother? So the final part of this is, it's difficult to do it with one hand, but there is a little gap in here, which you can fit that box into. A little bit neater than I have, as I've just done it with one hand. Tidy your cables up and things into place. You don't want to end up trapping cables as you put the glove box back in again. And then what I'll end up doing, as I said, is put the 4G and the GPS antenna top of the glove box as you lift it back into position. It's then held in place with 5 screws, 3 across the front, 1 at the back. Make sure you remember to reconnect it's the airbag switch and light for your glove box, so you don't forget about that when you're putting it back in again. And then it should all be done. Nice and neat. Thank you.